Wait, I know exactly what you're gonna say. You're gonna say Mike, but you didn't do the Kids React to System of a Down video, and you're doing this one. What's going on, Mike? I thought you were done doing Fine Brothers videos. I'm not completely done with them. I am just trying to avoid doing more than I really need to. And especially for that one, I already did Elders React to System of a Down, so I just kind of felt like it was redundant. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Mike, didn't you already do a video on Greta Van Fleet? Didn't you already say everything that needed to be said with them? Yeah, for the most part, honestly, yeah. But a wonderful young lady who you might be familiar with named Catherine gave me a nice little comment on my Greta Van Fleet video, and that might have encouraged me to make another one. I verified with her on Twitter. That is indeed her. And Catherine, if you are watching this, you are absolutely sweet. You are one of my favorites, if not my, I think Vera might be my favorite, sorry. And this one is to you. Hey guys, it is Mike with Become the Night. Welcome back to another reaction video. Today we are taking a look at Elders React to Greta Van Fleet. If you have not seen my original video on Greta Van Fleet already, which I'm assuming most of you, if not all of you have, there will be a link to that somewhere around here. This can also be a good opportunity for me to talk about some of the comments that some of the people left in the last video. Let's begin.
Somebody's screaming. That's always good.
Damn right, it's always good.
It's like a rock song.
Good guess.
It sounds like something from the 60s, the arrangement.
And this would be most people's primary defense of Greta Van Fleet. They're reviving rock and roll, bringing it back to the quote-unquote good old days of what it used to be. I'm not going to touch on that argument right now because there's going to be a spot later in the video where I can more properly address that.
His voice sounds familiar.
Yeah, it sounds so freaking familiar, doesn't it? Almost like you've heard it a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I guess it was actually older than those movies, jeez.
Led Zeppelin? That's very, very Led Zeppelin.
Catherine knows what's up. So, Catherine apparently is an enormous fan of Led Zeppelin. Good on ya. And addressing some of the commenters who didn't think that they sound like Led Zeppelin, frickin' told you so.
Is that Led Zeppelin?
Is this like newfound Led Zeppelin?
Reminds me a little bit of Kurt Cobain. It could be a new band.
Wait, what? Kurt Cobain? I heard someone compare them to CCR as far as their sound. I've heard some other random band from the 70s. I've heard Heart, which a later song I can see a comparison there. But Kurt Cobain? I'm not trying to make fun of her. I just really would love to know what's going on in her head to where she made that connection. So fascinating.
He's rock.
Right there.
Okay.
Sorry, didn't mean to stop you partway through, Catherine. That whole thing there, that feels very much like Heart, very much like Barracuda. Just the line itself, not the beat. And definitely not the guitar parts. In that sense, I could give these sounds like Heart argument a little bit of credence there.
There's not so much guitar anymore. In music, like this kind of guitar.
It's really sad, too.
The song has nothing for me. Nothing new.
I am so in agreement with you there, though. That chorus there, and a lot of people were telling me I need to listen to Black Smoke Rising because it's something that sounds honestly less Zeppelin-y than most of their other tracks that they have. I will admit I had not listened to Black Smoke Rising before making my first video. I would say that chorus is more in the direction of where they should head as far as finding a more unique sound. As a matter of fact, I actually find a little bit of an influence of pop in there.
At first I thought it maybe Billy Idol, you know, the way they scream.
Billy Idol? Wow. I have no idea where they could get Billy Idol. I don't know, maybe it's just me. When I immediately heard this band, it screamed Zeppelin to me. It was like electric. I mean, a lot of people try to emulate John Bonham. A lot of people try to emulate Jimmy Page. So like you can kind of shelve that away as like, okay, that's more of just like a standard sound now in rock and roll. But the vocals being so close to Robert Plant, that to me was a dead giveaway. And I'm shocked. I mean, I guess maybe these people aren't into Led Zeppelin as much. It could be the thing.
Well, we know what music he grew up on.
Sounds
Amen.
like I expected them to look young, but everything's younger than me.
Some of the stuff that guy says cracks me the hell up, man. He's awesome.
You got a little of the 60s there, you got a little of this edgy grunge stuff from Seattle, and then you've got a little of the just the punk from London. So it's kind of like if you put those in a bowl and mix the three of them, you'd come up with this.
Really? I don't hear the grunge. I would really be interested to know what you guys think, since you guys know my opinion on grunge. I'm not a fan. I don't hear any grunge in there at all. I hear it very much rooted in the 70s. But if you guys disagree and you can give me some examples of what it might be compared to, I'd be very interested to hear it.
That was a new rock band called Greta Van Fleet. The band consists of 3 brothers and their friend, all between the ages of 18 and 21.
They're like the grandchildren of Led Zeppelin. Oh God, I'm so old.
Before we talk some more about the menu, so we're going to play you some songs and see if you can guess whether it's from Led Zeppelin or Greta Van Fleet.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Robert, please, I'm sorry if I blow it.
You don't worry. So I was gonna run through and do this test, but I already watched the video beforehand, so I technically already know the answers. I guessed them all right, I can tell you that. For what it's worth, which doesn't mean anything. But as a lot of them are about to say, and as I totally agree, it was fucking tough. Now, I'm not nearly as familiar with Led Zeppelin's catalog as die hard fans. They had a pretty extensive catalog. The only real thing that I could use to distinguish between Greta Van Fleet and Robert Plant were, rather, 2 things. One of the songs that was Led Zeppelin, you could tell had an older production value. I could definitely hear this was before the clarity of today. And that's the thing with Greta Van Fleet. I mean, you can listen to it and be like, wow, that's super clear. But some of the remasters of Led Zeppelin stuff come through crystal clear as well. Blah, if I could talk, it'd be great. So that was really the challenge. On the second song, it was Robert Plant, but he didn't sound like you expect Robert Plant to sound. And that to me was almost a tip-off of like, oh, that, and also there was a bunch of weird time signatures and weird chords in that song, and I was like, yeah, Greta Van Fleet's not going to get into that. Those were the 2 things that I used in my strategy to determine which was which. And all the Greta Van Fleet songs, I had to second guess myself as to whether or not that was Led Zeppelin. It's uncanny how close they are. If you want to try and guess along, if you want to guess along with the elders, go ahead to their video. I'll put a link in the description, time-coded to the guess.
Some people believe that Greta Van Fleet is one of the bands making the classic rock sound popular again. The band has even said they want to be the Led Zeppelin of Generation Z.
I think they have like a niche, that is missing.
Okay, so here's where we get into it. Is there merit in bringing rock and roll back into the music scene? Possibly. I'm sure everyone just took a big gasp there, considering everyone knows my stance on metal and everything. Here's the thing. If you're trying to make the argument that, oh, what would you rather have, rock and roll or this garbage, overprocessed, overly simplified, overly sexualized music, I would say there's not too much difference between the 2. Yes, you are having more real instruments being played by more real musicians, and yes, you are having a more traditional sound palette, if you will, to things that we like to consume. Yes, I agree to that. That in and of itself does not make it better. I will definitely agree that I think Greta Van Fleet, even in trying to mimic so closely Led Zeppelin, has much more heart and soul than almost everything I listen to on the radio nowadays. And yes, I agree, trying to bring that back into the spotlight is much better and more important. However, does anyone remember this band called Nirvana? If I recall, people were shitting all over 80s hair metal because it was overproduced, overly technical, and just completely devoid of soul. And in comes this band Nirvana who brings soul back, and then it gets co-opted by the system and turns into garbage, and then evolves into nu metal, which we all have our opinions on. I believe a man committed suicide over such a thing. And then there's also this facet, and I'm gonna save it so that Catherine can take the words right out of my mouth.
They sound a lot like them, but no one can be Led Zeppelin again. Please find your own voice too, because you have musical talent. Don't just be someone else that's already been done.
Thank you. So here's the thing. Is it really driving the art forward by rehashing the old? Simple answer is no. It may be something you like, it may be something you enjoy, but I mean, if this is going to be the phase now where we just start rehashing old sounds and just keep bringing them back up because it's been several decades since they've been popular, how are we any different than people bullshitting all over Hollywood, telling them that they keep rehashing and doing remakes. It's literally the exact same thing. If we want to drive the art forward, we need to evolve rock and roll. We don't need to play rock and roll the way it's already been played. To the point of people asking, are they the next Led Zeppelin? No. Led Zeppelin wasn't only famous for sounding like Led Zeppelin, they were famous for sounding like no one else at the time. They wouldn't be Led Zeppelin if they sounded like everyone else, or if they sounded exactly like Chuck Berry. Yes, I am aware that they got caught stealing songs and everything, but they don't sound exactly like the people they stole from. I'm not justifying it, I'm just pointing out a fact. If you really want to say someone's the next Led Zeppelin, they're going to drive the rock and roll sound forward and become iconic in history. That would be the next Led Zeppelin. That would be the next Eddie Van Halen. Sorry, Tay-Tay, not you. So no, these guys are not the next Led Zeppelin. You're not going to be able to convince me otherwise, unless on their next album they completely blow it out of the water and blow my mind, which is possible. And as I said in my last video, I really do wish them the best of luck, and they're very talented gentlemen.
And if he can write properly and give us new music with that old voice, oh my gosh, he'll bring generations together.
Yeah. That's not a sarcastic yeah, that's an actual yeah. He could bring generations together. How is that? I don't know. I think it is something worthy of laud. However, it's not groundbreakingly amazing. It's not superstardom status.
After learning a bit about Greta Van Fleet, do you think other bands should continue to bring back the classic rock sound, or should it be left in the past?
I think the sound, yes, but not a dead-on imitation.
Pretty much. As a matter of fact, Catherine, I would argue even further and slightly disagreeing with you. I think they should take that sound as a groundwork and morph it and change it into something grander. And as a matter of fact, we already have bands that are doing this. We just don't have the exposure to it that we need. And by the way, check out Song Suggestion Friday if you're not familiar. We have all kinds of groundbreaking, badass music being reviewed on there. One of my big goals is trying to change the culture around music and trying to change the education around music. And the only way we can do that is by showing as many people as possible in our day-to-day lives. If you really, really want rock and roll to not just be a relic of the past and just be a bunch of nostalgia being drummed up to be like, oh man, back in my day, you need to start promoting the guys that are putting the hard fucking work in, man. There's a lot of them out there. They're so fucking talented and they're not getting recognized. And it's probably the greatest sin of today's music industry. Anyway, sorry, those are my thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. Catherine, thank you so much for your lovely comment. I greatly appreciate that. It was quite surprising and also got a little bit starstruck, a little bit. If you guys want to help me make better videos, please go to the link in the description, pledge some money to me every month on Patreon, because even a snob needs to be patronized every once in a while. If you don't want to do a rolling pledge, you can go to my PayPal or go to my merch store and buy some cool merch. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Become the Night. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next video. Rock on!